Hey everybody, hope everybody's doing alright tonight. Time to do a live stream. Hope everybody's doing okay. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. I know I wasn't live last weekend, last Thursday, because it was Thanksgiving. Hope everybody enjoyed their turkey day. Hope everybody's doing good tonight. Don't hesitate to shout out in chat if you're here. Let me know. My mic is, let me see if I can fix that. I'm kind of echoey tonight. Settings. Alright, well, I guess that's just the way it's going to be. Yep, I guess that's just the way it's going to be tonight. I'm pretty echoey. Or maybe my microphone sound got messed up. Not sure. No? It hasn't been changed. My young one likes to get up on my desk and mess with my microphone. He likes to pretend he's talking in it like I do when I do my live streams. So, but anyway, hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Hopefully sound is all right. So I've got a couple videos in the works that I'm working on for next week and the week after. I've filmed them already. I've got if you are interested in chat, please let me know if there's one that you'd like to see first, because whichever one you guys want to see first is the one I'll put up first. But I've got one on spiders I plan on doing. I've never done a video on spiders before. I went through all my videos, and it seems like every time I talk about spiders or how to eliminate spiders, people jump all over me and talk about how spiders are so beneficial and you shouldn't kill spiders because spiders do my job too, and you shouldn't kill spiders. And so, but anyway, I get hired to kill spiders all the time. Spiders are a problem, especially when you're dealing with poisonous spiders like black widows and brown recluse. So I made a video on the differences of spiders and how to eliminate them on your own. I also have a video coming up on how not to take bed bugs with you when you move. And so both of those videos are going live. The next couple videos I release, that's what they're going to be about. And so I've had a lot of questions, and I thought I'd actually go over a little bit of the bed bug information tonight, since this is the bed bug show, even though you're free to ask me any question that you want. Also, if you think about it, don't hesitate to like the video tonight. It does help the channel a whole lot. But or subscribe if you're not subscribed already. So I have a lot of questions on my channel. In fact, it's probably one of the #1 questions I'm asked, that I have been asked over the last 3 or 4 years that I've been on YouTube, about how not to take bed bugs with you when you move. A lot of people who get bed bugs, you know, like renters and different people, or even homeowners that might have a problem with them and they're planning on moving to a new location, they always worry a lot about taking bed bugs with them when they move. And so I did a video, and I talked a little bit about that, on how you can avoid. But the truth is, you really aren't going to be able to avoid taking them with you. It's a very difficult thing to do. But the main thing that I try to explain in the video is how you can avoid you know, moving into your new house and having an infestation issue. That you can take them with you, but they'll be in the process of dying in different stages of death. And that is the point, is that even though you do take a few with you, they don't live very long in the house you move to. And so I go over that in the next video. I talk about U-Hauls and the dangers of bed bugs in U-Hauls and Penske trucks if you're going to rent a truck to move your furniture. And the rails, actually, I don't know if I talk about this in the video or not, but in a U-Haul, one of the places that I have actually found bed bugs in a U-Haul living in these places are around the rails. So if you've ever been in the back of a U-Haul where the rails actually run straight down the sides of the U-Haul on both the left and the right side, or driver's and passenger side. They're used to fasten your beds, your furniture, dressers, nightstands, stuff like that, so they don't like wobble all over the back of the car or back of the moving truck. And if you think about it, if someone were to take their mattresses and their box springs and fasten them up against those things so they don't flop over and stuff while they're driving down the road, that's the place the bed bugs will live, because they'll crawl right off of the mattress and right off of the box spring as they're jiggled around down the road, and they'll try to find a more stable place, because bed bugs, they don't like a lot of movement, they don't like a lot of vibration, and so they try to get away from it. And so you'll agitate them on your beds, and they'll move over and start living on those bed rails, or not bed rails, but the rails on the side of the truck. And so a lot of times with U-Hauls especially, they're not actually treated or cleaned or anything like that between visits. The most that anyone usually does to them is they might sweep them out, but they're not really going to go through the back of a U-Haul with a pesticide. So that's something you have to think about when you rent a U-Haul and you're planning on doing a move, is that you'll want to try to treat your U-Haul truck, because it's a very likely place that you'll have bed bugs infesting. So, but anyway, like I said, I go over all that in my next video. Like I said, I've got 2 videos in the works. I've got one about spiders and how to eliminate spiders and how to do it successfully. Spiders are probably one of the worst bugs that I have to deal with on a regular. They're very difficult to eliminate, mainly because they walk on silk, and they don't actually walk in your pesticide. When you do a chemical application, a lot of times you're treating inside the cracks and the crevices, which work really good for things like ants and cockroaches and other kinds of bugs that hide in the wall, and not just hide along the wall, but a lot of your bugs will actually travel right along the baseboards, behind the baseboards, right up next to the wall. And so if you treat those areas with a residual pesticide, those bugs and stuff will they won't live there. So but with spiders, because spiders hunt for food, they don't necessarily go into the cracks and the crevices. They usually build their nests on places like dusk to dawn lamps outside, porch lights around windows that emit light outside. And so those are usually the places you want to try to concentrate your treatment, or around the windows and the doors and the entryways, because that's where the bugs are going to go, and spiders hunt for bugs. So they're going to be in those similar places. Because really, spiders can actually, a lot of people see them this time of year because it starts to get cold, and they think, oh, they must be trying to come in for hibernation. But no, they're actually waiting for the other bugs to crawl through their web so they can eat them. And they know where to be, they know where the warm drafts are, and they know where the light is, and so they build up their home there so that they can trap anything that tries to walk by. And so because spiders are not like other types of pests where they don't hide in the same places, they're really out kind of in the open, ready to catch something and eat something, they're a lot more difficult to eliminate. And so I go over that, and I talk about the effective ways of doing spider control on your own home, and hopefully that will help you too. But like I said, if you guys, it doesn't look like I've got very many people here tonight. I've been on for about, looks like maybe 9-10 minutes. But if there's any questions at all tonight, don't hesitate to ask. I guess I could sit here and tell you guys about my week, how things went this week, about the bed bugs and stuff I had to eliminate. I got my daughter sitting right here beside me tonight. Usually she's already in bed, but we let her stay up tonight. She's been behaving really well today, doing a real good job on schoolwork and stuff. So she's getting to sit here beside me tonight. She just has to be real quiet so she don't make a lot of racket. But anyway, I hope everybody else is doing all right. I hope everybody else had a really good Thanksgiving and enjoyed their meal. We had a pretty good sized meal. We had one at home. My wife's grandmother had oral surgery, and so we didn't feel like it was really a good idea with all the different things going around, the different diseases and stuff, and it's peak flu season right now, that someone that has oral surgery, it's usually not a really good idea to kind of hang out with people like that, because you might make them sick. So we decided to do Thanksgiving at home this year, and my wife made this big meal. It took like 2-3 days to cook it all. We had rolls and fake turkey? They call fake turkey?
Yeah, Gardein.
Gardein. fake turkey because we're vegan. So we had the holiday roast from Gardein, which is really delicious, really good, really greasy. Not used to that kind of food because I eat a lot of real healthy food. What else did we eat? We had sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes, and sprinkled a little sugar and cinnamon on that.
Yeah, sweet potatoes with sugar
Homemade
and cinnamon.
Stuffing.
Homemade stuffing. That
Homemade
was really
pumpkin
good.
pie.
So she spent a whole day baking bread, a whole day baking beautiful loaves of bread, just to chop it all up into little bitty squares, and she made stuffing out of that. And I was sad because, well, I did get one piece. I did get the heel. I like the heel. It's my favorite piece of the bread. And so, but she made homemade loaf bread and then cut it all up, made stuffing out of it. And then we had pumpkin pie, which she also made homemade, the crust and everything. And it was just a really good meal. I really enjoyed it. I ate Thanksgiving twice that day, even though I didn't have to go to anybody else's house. I had enough food here just to feed myself twice. And then we had it the next day too. I think I had a little bit the next day, and then the third day I had some that day too, till it was gone. So it got all eaten. Oh, we had green beans. Green beans are good. I always like green beans, so we had some of those too. But so that's what we had for Thanksgiving. I don't really think very many things eventful happened to me this week as far as pest control goes. I don't really have any crazy stories to tell you this week. I was pretty busy. I worked all week. I have a cockroach infestation I have to go deal with tomorrow, so that's going to be fun. They're always really fun to go do those. They're probably my favorite. I was actually asked by a customer the other day. They asked me what my favorite things to my favorite bugs that I eliminate. What are the 3 top things I like to eliminate the most? Cockroaches are like right up there at the top of the list. Cockroaches, bedbugs, and I never could figure out a third. But yeah, cockroaches are and bedbugs. What would you say my third favorite thing to eliminate for a customer?
Cockroaches, bedbugs. Do you want to put bedbugs in there?
Cockroaches and bedbugs.
Oh,
The 3.
Tired.
3.
Oh, 3 best. Cockroaches, bedbugs. I don't know. You don't like fleas.
Oh, I hate fleas.
You hate fleas.
I'd rather never do a flea job ever again. I hate fleas. I can't stand them.
Probably mice.
I did that flea job today, and
I
they
would say you probably like eliminating mice, don't you?
mice are alright.
They're pretty easy.
Yeah, but that's not.
Nothing really infests the way cockroaches and bedbugs do.
No, nothing infests like probably stink bugs.
Yeah.
I like killing stink bugs. Stink bugs are fun to kill. So I do have a story about stink bugs. And why I hate stink bugs. So Swift T says mice. Stink bugs. For those of you, so I did a video not too long ago about stink bugs because it was stink bug season. Everybody was getting them in the house, and back when the stink bugs were really bad, I used to live in Vinton, Virginia, which is kind of like a suburb of Roanoke, Virginia, right on the edge of Bedford County and Roanoke County. And that house I used to live in had a horrible stink bug problem. I would spray every year, and they'd come in, they'd die, but they would die all over the place. It was crazy. And in fact, I think I may even, if I can find them, I have pictures of how horrible they used to get in my kitchen. They would come in and crawl all across the ceiling and fall in the floor, and they'd be all over the place. And my cats would go, and they would catch them, and they would eat them, and then they'd jump on your lap, stinking like stink bugs. But it was crazy how bad the stink bugs were back then. But I was making a pot of chili. So what happened was the day before, I took my chili. Now the way I used to do my chili is I would take it out and I would slow cook it in the crock pot all night long, and then and all day the next day. Usually for almost 24 hours, the crock pot would have chili in it. The beans and everything would be in the crock pot, and then the next day, usually around 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I would take everything out of the crock pot, transfer it to a pot on the stove, and then I would add all of my tomatoes and my peppers and my onions and all my vegetables and stuff that you don't want to really render all the way down into nothing. And I would put that in there, and then I would let it slow simmer for maybe another hour and a half to 2 hours. And then it was really real big meaty chili with lots of tomatoes and beans and stuff in it. And so I I went to taste the chili, and it tasted really good. I had one bite of it, and a stink bug flew in the pot, and you could almost see the oil from the stink bug's body, because they're really greasy, just start to coat the top of my chili. And I was so mad. I couldn't just scoop it up and throw it out. I just couldn't eat it. It left the worst smell in the kitchen I've ever had. And this was a pot. Now, when I made chili, I use a pot like this deep. So it was a big pot of chili. It was enough to last me for like the whole week, because that's the way I always made it. I eat chili for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and no one wants to hang out with me for like 4 or 5 days, because I just, chili and beans, But yeah, so I at that point I developed a extreme hatred for stink bugs, because they flew in and ruined my chili. But I do have a really good chemical combination that actually works really, really well on a stink bug infestation. And I haven't really had stink bug problems. And shoot, even when we lived at the old house that we used to get them in, they still were nothing like I used to get them when I lived in Roanoke County. But it was pretty horrible. So that's my story for the night about stink bugs ruining my ants. Ants are another thing I like to kill too, because they ate my donuts one time. Roanoke is the only city local to us that actually has a Krispy Kreme hot and ready. And so you can go and get the Krispy Kremes. If anybody's ever had a Krispy Kreme hot and ready, those things are like, just amazing, the most delicious thing you ever eat. And I got a whole dozen Krispy Kremes, and I took them home, and my wife, she was all excited, and my son and all. Emma loved them. Emma loves donuts. It's like one of her favorite things to eat. In fact, when she was a baby, that's her first food, wasn't it? Donut?
Yeah.
Yeah, Alicia was mad at me.
Well, no, it wasn't her first food. It's her first sugary treat you ever gave her. She had never had sugar before.
Yeah, my wife was really mad at me because I gave Emma a donut because she was just a baby. It was like the first sugary treat she had ever been given. And from that point on, she had to have donuts. She loved donuts. And so I was in Roanoke one day, and like I said, I used to live in Bedford, and so I was in Roanoke, and I said, well, I'm going to go buy the Krispy Kreme, and I'm going to pick up a hot and ready, because the hot now sign was on. And so I picked up 12 donuts, 12 dozen, yeah, I wish. No, 12 donuts, and drove home. We had like a donut apiece, and left the rest of them in the kitchen on the counter, in the little container thing. Came back in there 3 hours later and to get another donut, and the whole thing was full of ants. And so, I do pest control, but I have problems with bugs too sometimes, and that really bothered me. I had to throw away almost a full dozen donuts. I had to throw away because the ants had gotten in and ruined them. So I hate ants, and if you haven't noticed, the moral of the story is don't mess with my food or I'll hate you, because I like to eat. But anyway, I don't have anybody here talking tonight. Swift T's talking. It's all about mice and how they like to kill mice. But if you guys are here, I got 8 people watching. Y'all to say hi in the chat or ask me a question or something. I can't just sit here and ramble all night long. You got to give me something to talk about. Do what?
You're good.
Do what?
You can ramble.
I can ramble? I'm good at rambling?
You can tell my bedbug story.
Do what?
My bedbug story.
What's your bedbug story?
When we were up in the bedroom and I was asleep that night.
But it wasn't a real bedbug, though.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
It was. It had crawling. My hair was all spread out.
It wasn't a bedbug. It was a stink bug.
Or stink bug.
It wasn't a bedbug. We've never had
stink
bedbugs.
Bug. Stink bug. Stink bug.
K-Lab says, I hate fleas passionately. Steamo Buglaster says, I just got home from a good old German roach job. It kills my appetite. I can't wait for the one I got tomorrow. I like German roaches. I'll tell you. I don't know if I want to tell that story.
What?
I don't know if I want to tell that story. I guess I'll tell that story. So, I had a customer one time. This long time ago. They didn't have a horrible cockroach infestation like Buglaster. You got a scale, all right? So when you've done enough German cockroach jobs, you have kind of a sliding scale from like a 1 to 10. All right, 10 is when they're like chasing out of every little crack and crevice and falling on you, and you're pulling them out of your pockets of your shirt, and you're throwing them on the ground, and they're just crawling all over, crawling up your boots, and you're terrified you're going to take them home with you. All right? That is like the worst cockroach job. And they're just everywhere. They're in the bedroom. You go in the bedroom and you open the door and they fall out of the hinges. You pull the refrigerator out away from the wall and the wall's black behind the refrigerator and it starts to move and the roaches go everywhere. That's like the worst German cockroach infestation. And yes, they do get that bad. And so this house that I did was probably about a 3. It wasn't severe, but they had roaches. Like when I pulled the microwave away, I found some roaches behind the microwave, and there's some living in the clock. Well, maybe about a 4 or 5. There was some living in the clock in the stove, and because that's the place they like to get. For those that don't know, you can't put your B&G down. Yeah, that's like a 10. That's like the worst because they're really bad because you're chasing them everywhere. You're doing a clean out service and you're just running them all over the place. They're the most fun, honestly. I think those jobs are the most fun, not because you're killing a whole lot of roaches, but because it's the customer perception of what you're doing. You're basically going into a house, you're waging a war, and it's not really any different than you would do any other roach clean out, but just because of the massive infestation they have, it's almost like you're waging war on the roaches, and they're just all sending every troop out after you. But yeah, it's always behind the fridge. You got to pull the fridge out. If you're going to do a roach clean out, you have got to pull the fridge out. It's required every single time. But some houses, like this house that I went to, you could not pull the fridge out. The reason you could not pull the fridge out is because the fridge had never been pulled out, probably in 4 or 5 years. The grime that had fallen around the legs of the fridge had kind of like concreted it to the floor. It had pressed into the linoleum to the point where if I had pulled it out, I would have scraped the linoleum up off the floor. It was just, that was a permanent fixture of the kitchen. Unless you want to do a kitchen remodel, it's a permanent fixture to the kitchen. There was grease on the countertop that had actually ran down the countertop beside the fridge, and it kind of glued it in place like super glue. It was really, really nasty. And they had cat litter boxes, okay, in the kitchen. Now, I had cats. I had my cat litter in the kitchen. I had it in a room. I did have it near the kitchen. I had a room off the side of the kitchen. But I didn't put my cat litter in the kitchen because the cats take a dump, and they get the cat litter all over their paws, and they scrape it around, and then they jump up on the counter, and they track their poop all over the counter, and that's just gross. So, anyway, this particular person never scooped their litter. So, the floor was covered in cat poop. It was little cat turds all over the place. All over the floor. I mean, people had stepped in them. There was like some that had like footprints in them. There were the floor, urine in the floor from the cats because the cat litter hadn't probably been scooped in 6 months. It was completely full of doo-doo. I mean, it was really bad. It was really, really awful, nasty. The smell of a house like that, you smell like that house. When you leave a house like that, you smell like that house. You will smell like that house for 2 or 3 hours. You feel like you need to go home and scrub your body, not because of the roaches, but because of the smell that permeates your clothes. It's like when you hang out with someone who smokes, and the smoke from the nicotine and the smoke gets on you and it gets in your clothes and it makes you smell like you've been smoking even though you haven't. Where no one scoops their cat litter, you basically smell like a litter box for the rest of the day until you get your clothes and you wash them. So I'm standing here, I'm talking to the lady, and she's explaining to me about how she understands about how unsanitary roaches are. And she's so sorry she had to call me to come and kill her unsanitary roaches. And at this point, I'm looking at the floor, and there is doo. Okay, I think she understands the definition of the word unsanitary. But that is doo-doo in the floor. I mean, it's just turds all over the place. That, to me, is unsanitary. But anyway, that was a pretty bad one. And you'll go in houses like that. Or I've done rentals like that too, where the roaches were, like I was saying before, like where they're just everywhere. and you'll knock on the door, and they'll come to the door, and they'll say, "Oh, hey, Mr. Bugman, how you doing today?" And you walk in there, and you start spraying, and the roaches will start pouring out everywhere. I don't know where them things came from. They must have just got here yesterday. I ain't seen a roach in here at all. And you know damn well them roaches been in that house for months, and they've been living in that mess for months. The roaches crawling all over the place. But I took my son Rory. He's been working with me. Any nightmare stories about rats? Yes, I do. I do have a story about rats. So I got several, but the worst one. So I used to do a farm. There was a farm where the lady raised emus. So she had emus, which for those of you that don't know, they're like smaller versions of ostrich. So she was raising these emu farm, and emus are very messy when they eat. They don't really eat off the ground. They eat in a trough. So the trough is usually about maybe 4 feet off the ground, and so the emu eats out of that. And a lot of times they're fed pellets and maybe some alfalfa sprouts or something like that, and that's what you feed an emu. And so they spill the pellets all over the ground because they're really clumsy, messy eaters, and so that's perfect for rats. So this farm that I went on, and I had to treat these rats, and I went out there, and I had that burrow bait. I can't remember exactly what it was called because this was like maybe 20 years ago, and I was just a teenager. Just to give you an idea, so I'll be 39 in a couple weeks. This was maybe 20 years ago, 22, 23 years ago, and I went to bait the burrows. Now, just to give you an idea, I was walking out to the end of this woman's property, and all the way across the property, you could see the rats. The rats they had wear patterns. You know how if you have a dog in the backyard, and the dog will run a circuit, and you'll actually see the path that the dog will wear into the grass, where the grass is actually missing and there's just dirt there because the dog's been walking back and forth, the grass can't grow. There were wear spots like that for rats. There was a road that the rats had worn between the chicken house and the emu house. There was a wear between the emu house and the garden, and you could see the rats traveling, broad daylight, middle of daylight, traveling back and forth and back and forth. I probably counted 20, 30 rats, and just with my just with my eyes. If I had a pellet gun, I probably could have killed most of her rats that day. But anyway, I went to go put one of the baits down in the burrow in the ground, and the rat actually came up, grabbed the poison out of my hand, and took it back down in the bait, right down in the hole with it. And that made I about had to change my underwear. You never expect to feed a rat mouse poison. Ever. Never. I never would have expected that to happen, but it happened. And that's the worst rat job I've ever been on. But I've been at restaurants where you can see them walking back and forth from the restaurant to the dumpster to the sewer, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And you see that a lot. And that's a real common thing, mainly in the city. You find rats are worse in the city, but yeah, that was probably the worst rat job. I did a mouse job one time though. Mice are way worse. You usually find that out in the country, you deal with a lot more mice than you do rats. Rats are more of a problem on like a farm. Horses. I've dealt with rats getting into horse barns and stuff, and like I said, the emu farm. But when you're dealing with in the home, most of the time in-home jobs are mice. I did a job one time when I was probably 19 or 20 years old, and it was a church that had been converted to a home. And so the lady was living in the house. I had to get there at 6 o'clock in the morning because she got her kids ready to get on the bus, and when they left on the bus at 6:30, she left for work. So I had to be there at 6 o'clock to bait her mice. And so I went up into the crawl space. I had bait stations in the attic, crawl space up in the attic. And I counted 50 mice. I literally counted 50 mice jumping back and forth across the rafters and running into the insulation and burrowing into the insulation before I stopped counting. I was filling out the paperwork sitting at the dining room table in the kitchen, and I heard this scratch, scratch, scratch. You know how mice will scratch and make scratching noises. And when I looked up at the microwave, so she had one of these microwaves that vented out through. It had like a convection oven, and so it vented up through the attic space. It had like a like kind of like a little mini chimney that went all the way up, and it also controlled like the stove fan and everything was all hooked into the microwave. And when I looked at the top of the microwave, there was a mouse actually chewing the grate to try to get out. And she went and put Hot Pockets in the microwave. And now the way a microwave works is it kind of rotates the air around in the vent. And he's been peeing right on top. So he's living on top of this microwave, peeing on top of the microwave. And she went and made Hot Pockets. And I was like, as soon as she turned the microwave on, you could smell the mouse urine. You could smell it. It smelled horrible. And I was like, you might not want to eat them Hot Pockets that are made in that microwave because that mouse has been peeing all over that microwave and it's getting all down inside the microwave. I can smell it when you turn it on. And she's like, oh, it's fine. He's been living there for a month. We call him Stuart. You're not going to kill him, are you? And I was like, well, yeah, I'm going to kill all your mice. It took me 6 months to get rid of her mouse infestation that normally a typical mouse infestation, you 1 or 2 visits, they're dead. They're gone. Because I bait. I don't use traps. I just bait for mice. But it took me about 6 months to get rid of them completely. It smelled like death in her house for about 3 months because I was killing so many mice. And actually, the poison that I use for mice tends to dry them up so you don't get an odor. But if you're mass murdering, 100 mice, yeah, you're going to smell it. But I try to use bait that doesn't have any smell when the mouse dies. Sumo says, the job I hate doing the most is fleas. After doing pest control for a while, nothing shocks me anymore. I just hate getting fleas in the work car. Yeah, I agree with that one. That's what I hate. So if I know I have a flea job, so I did a flea job today. If I know I have to do a flea job, I will usually treat my car the day before I have a flea job. Because, I don't do a lot of flea work, especially this time of year. It's December. Usually your fleas are worse between in the summer months, between like late summer from August until about maybe October, early October. That's when you get all your flea calls. And so typically I do treat my car during the summer months to keep from bringing fleas in, because you'll go into people's house and they're not even calling you for fleas, but they'll have fleas in their house and you'll track them into your car. But fleas eat me alive. So my son, for you all that don't know, he's been training with me since he was 8 years old. And now he'll be 16 next month. So he's better part of his life, he's been working with pest control, working with me, just like me. And we'll go in a house, and I've been teaching him how to do flea work. We go in a house to treat for fleas, and I'll be treating, and they'll jump all over me, and they'll eat me up. I'll get like 20 or 30 bites, and he won't get a scratch, he won't get a bite on him, they won't touch him, and they eat me up. They've done it all my life, but that's how I grade a house. So I know how bad the fleas are based on how bad I get eat up. So when I go into a house, I can usually rate it from, like I said, like I like the 1 to 10 scale. And that flea job I did today was about a 2 because I only picked about 10 of them off in the driveway. So, if I pick off any more than that, I usually get kind of irritated. And I'm like, no, this is a bad flea job. When you look down at your pants and they're all over, all the way up to your knees, and it's just black little dots everywhere. Caleb says, I wear rain boots and grease them down when I show up for flea jobs. I'll tell you what works really well for fleas. My wife actually had told me I should try it, and I was so desperate that it was last year. Last year was a really bad year for fleas, and so what I do is I tuck my pants into my socks. I do wear boots. I have boots that I wear, and I usually will open my boots up, tuck my pants all the way down, pull my sock all the way up, and wrap it around my pants. And then I've been using off. And that works really well to keep the fleas off of you. That has actually reduced my... I didn't infest my truck not one time last year. And since I started doing that, that works really well to keep the fleas off of you. Just a little tip for those of you, that don't want to take fleas home with you if you're doing pest control for a living like me. But I used to bring fleas home every year. Especially because I used to have cats. And cats love fleas. Fleas love cats. They're like a relationship there. If you're going to have cats, you're going to have fleas, you're going to fight them all the time. And it doesn't matter if you treat your cats, it doesn't matter, you will get fleas eventually. But I would get them every year because this is my job. My cats never went outside, but because I'm in pest control, I would bring home fleas on my clothing. It didn't matter if I walked in through the basement door and threw my clothes right in the wash. they would jump off on me in the basement, and then I'd have them, and then they tracked with me up through the house, and then the cats would get them, and then I'd have them all over the house. And I treated my cats. I was religious about taking very good care of my cats. Used to take them to the vet, had them fixed and everything, but they'd still get fleas. So, it was a pain in the butt. I can't stand fleas. You're looking at me funny. Daughter's sitting here playing a game. Yes, I use Alpine for fleas. That's Alpine WSG. I don't use the PT. I don't use the fog. I use just the Alpine WSG. It's really, really good. I haven't had a callback in 2 years almost. 2 seasons, 2 flea seasons. I didn't have any callbacks last year. The way I do my flea treatment is I charge, and then if they need me again in 4 weeks, I do 3 to 4 weeks. Then I give them half off of another treatment, because I don't guarantee fleas. You really can't, because people's pets get them and they won't take care of their pet, and so I don't guarantee fleas. But if they need me to come back on a follow-up, I do kind of give them half off of the job if they need me to do it. But I haven't had a callback in 2 years on fleas since I started using Alpine for them. But they changed the label of a couple other chemicals I was using, and now I can't use them inside anymore. So I stopped using them for fleas. But Alpine works really good. I've actually been really happy with Alpine. And typically I'll mix with Nigard or an IGR, some kind of an IGR, Nigard or Gentrol, something to kind of help. But yeah, that's what I use for fleas. You really don't need an IGR with Alpine though. I don't find you need it at all. Now Demise, back when Demise was around, that stuff was amazing. If you can still find that, that's the best flea chemical I've ever used in my life. That was amazing stuff. I don't know what happened to them. In fact, if anybody here knows, there are exterminators that are here watching me. If anybody knows why they got rid of Demise, I'd like to know that. That stuff was just amazing. I've used Final Soft Bait. I hate it. I used it once. I actually, maybe 8 years ago, because I'm due for my recertification next year. But every other year you have to get recertified. And I was at one of those seminars kind of things, and the guy was there, and he had samples of that Final Soft Bait, and he gave me like 50 of them, and I took them home and I tried them, and I couldn't get the mice or rats. I couldn't get mice or rats to eat them at all. They wouldn't touch them. They didn't like them. I never used it since. I used it that one time. He gave it to us as like a trial kind of packets, and I tried it out. I hate it, so I don't use it. I was using it in bait stations. Yeah, you can take it. It comes in those little. They're the ones that he gave me. This has been a long time ago, maybe 8-10 years ago. But he gave them to me. They look like what's a good way, like a piece of candy or something. It's in like a piece of wax paper, and you kind of just it's a little circle disc, and you stick it down on your bait station rods, and then they come in and they eat it off of there. But I never liked it. I found that they would take the paper off of them, and they would use the paper as a nesting material, but they wouldn't eat the bait. Roach baits, I like Advion, and I like what's that other one? Back when Max Force was the stuff, that was the stuff. But that stuff there doesn't work anymore because it's got fipronil in it, and so many exterminators were using fipronil as a pesticide. They were mixing it in with their pesticide, even though it wasn't labeled for it, and it's going to cause the roaches to become immune to fipronil. But yeah, Evict is good. That's a good bait. That's a real good bait. I like that stuff. But the main thing about roach baits are they need to be used with other things too. So bait is not the end-all solution for cockroaches. You really need to do a crack and crevice treatment throughout the house. You need to... Demon's a good chemical on a clean out. But Alpine WSG is... honestly, I haven't even used Demon on my clean outs. I still use Alpine for clean outs. But if you use Demon and you mix it at clean out strength, that'll give them a show. You talk about really chasing out the roaches, use cypermethrin. You're going to chase the roaches out of every little crack and crevice in the kitchen. But you could use that, or you could use Alpine. Alpine doesn't really run them. It doesn't chase them because it's a non-repellent. And so I use Alpine WSG for all of my roach cleanouts now. And I did a job. So the guy was infested. He was on a scale of 1 to 10, he was about a 9. He is way up there. Really, really bad roaches. I went in there and I sprayed, and I went back for the second trip. And I always do a 1-month follow-up on my roach jobs. And I went back and the roaches, I found 3. And that's in 1 month of using Alpine WSG. I've never used anything like it. I've done restaurants and been able to get rid of them in a restaurant in just one treatment with Alpine. Even though they're cleaning the floors and they're bleaching the floors and stuff all the time, I've been able to do that. But that's the time frame, about 1 to 2 months, sometimes 3 months. Just depends on getting rid of roaches is a two-way street. You kind of have to explain that to your customers. You have to explain to them that when you're doing a roach clean out and they're not willing to clean and get the food up and clean their dishes and wash the things that the roaches are breeding in, then expect to have continual problems with roaches. But there's 3 things you need to eliminate if you're going to eliminate a roach infestation: food and water, harborage, and heat. And you can't get rid of heat because people live in the house, and you can't get rid of food and water because people live in the house, and you can't get rid of harborage because, well, there's roaches. Then it's a house. That's where they're living. So you can lessen these things though. You can wash your dishes and clean them up. Make sure there's no food left over. Clean out your drains. Make sure there's no food left in the sink. Wash your sink out every night before you go to bed because roaches like to come out at night. So you make sure all that stuff is picked up. Keep your dog food in containers, airtight containers that the roaches can't get into, and pick up your dog food. Don't leave it sitting out because roaches like to live on dog dishes and cat dishes and stuff like that too. And that eliminates a lot of the food that they're going after. Now they will go in and they'll get grease and stuff out of the inside of the stove, and they can find food in other places, but that does help a lot. And it also reduces harborage because roaches will actually live on dirty dishes and stuff too. If the dirty dishes are there more than a couple days, roaches will start to live on them, and they'll dog dishes and your cat dishes. And so the fact that you're picking these stuff up and you're keeping a nice clean kitchen is going to lessen your harborage. It doesn't mean that dirty people have roaches. It's just dirty people have a worse problem getting rid of the roaches. It's a lot harder to do it. And so I try to explain to all of my customers when I go in. I have absolutely no problem telling people, look, you need to clean your kitchen because that's what I'm there for. They're paying me to come in there and make sure their roaches are eliminated at the most efficient, the best possible way. And you've got to learn to tell people that what they need to do because they don't want the roaches. So don't worry about offending people. Just tell them like it is. Say, no, look, see these dishes here? How long have these dishes been in the sink? Because they really should be washed and put away every day. If you can wash them and put them away every day, and don't leave them in the dishwasher. Don't leave them nasty in the dishwasher. Run your dishwasher. If you put dishes in the dishwasher, run the dishwasher. Wash the dishes because the roaches will live in your dishwasher on those dirty dishes. They love that stuff. And so if you're not spending, and they'll ruin your dishwasher. They'll get into, because they're used to food there, they'll actually start living inside your dishwasher and they'll ruin the dishwasher. You have to spend $300-$400 replacing a dishwasher. Nobody wants to do that. And so, point out these things when you're going into a house and you're doing a roach clean out. Say, look, you got to do this too. If you could do this too, we'll get rid of these roaches. It won't take any time to get rid of these roaches. And when you have that kind of cooperation with your customer, shoot, they're not hard to get rid of at all. But they're fun. Like I said, they're one of my most enjoyable things. Those and bedbugs, mainly bedbugs, because people will cry. People have called me on the phone crying. This is the first time I've been able to get sleep in over a week. This is the first time I've been able to get sleep in months, years. They've been dealing with bed bugs, and I go in there and I kill their bed bugs, and they can sleep easy immediately. Almost within 24 hours, they have a decent night's sleep. And people have called me up crying on the phone because I've been able to get rid of their bed bugs. So that's just enjoyable for me because you feel like you're making a difference, and I like that too. Hey, Gary. Nice to see you again tonight. Hope your Thanksgiving was good. Hope everybody's Thanksgiving was good. I know I've been talking about Thanksgiving, but I had a really good Thanksgiving. It was really good food. I got fat and gained an extra 20 pounds probably. Actually, I haven't weighed. I don't want to. I hadn't weighed because I figured if I give myself a couple weeks to eat really good, then by the time I weigh, I'll be like, oh, I can eat that anytime. I didn't gain no weight. I hate fleas. I hate fleas. I charge extra just to deal with fleas, just because I can't stand them because they eat me up so bad. And the bites last for days, and I hate them. I really hate them. I hate ticks. I don't like tick jobs either. You go out and do a yard treatment for ticks, you always end up picking 3 or 4 ticks off of you. If you can get them before they bite you, it's all right. But boy, if they bite you, you're going to have that mark is going to be on you for over a month. They are a miserable, miserable thing. So, but I actually have a kind of like a home remedy for ticks. I ought to do one of those videos because that actually works at some point. Maybe at tick season when, April, May come around, I'll do one on ticks. But like I said, so now that I've got 20 people in the room, I was talking about this earlier. I really shouldn't really get into the meat of the show until after more people start getting in here. But so next week, Tuesday is when I release my videos. That's when I like to release my videos, on Tuesdays. I like to do my live streams Thursday night. It seems to work with most everybody because people like to go out and party on Friday. Even though I don't think anybody's open anymore on Friday nights. But if you, I've got 2 videos that I've got in queue. So this is going to base on which one I edit and clip together and put up for you guys to see. So I've got 2 videos. And I'm going to put this into my, I'm going to make so for those of you that follow my channel, if you're not following me, follow me now. But I've got, let me show you. So let me share my screen over here. I got my Discord up. Screen share. There we go. So I'm going to do a poll. All right. You guys go vote. So if you go to Green Acres, right here, and you go to the community tab, right here, see this is my vote. So this was my vote for Thanksgiving, the one I did. So I had Thursday's Thanksgiving Day. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Thursday is also my live stream day, and based on this poll, I will stream Thursday night. So I didn't actually stream Thursday night because, well, you guys said not to. So I took Thursday night off. It was nice. I was able to spend time with family. It was a good time. So I'm going to leave a poll here on my community tab about my video for next Tuesday. So I have a video on spiders and how to eliminate spiders. It's going to be one of those like 3 to 4 easy steps on how to get rid of spiders on your own and how to make sure you keep spiders gone off of your house. And I've got another video that I want to do about how not to take bed bugs with you when you move. So these are the 2 things I actually get questions on a lot. And I'm kind of deciding on which one I want to do first. And so based on that poll, I actually, let me go ahead. I do that right now. Let me go to your channel, okay, and go to community. And then let's say, which video would you like to see next? And then we do a poll. And the first option will be and how to kill spiders in 3 to 4 easy steps, or how to not move. How would you even word that? How not to take bed bugs with you when you move. Post. There we go. So if y'all go, you can vote on that, and let's see if I can refresh this. There you go. So there you go. There's my vote right there. Which video would you like to see next? How to kill spiders in 3 to 4 easy steps, or how to take bed bugs? What? That ain't the. Let me edit that. See, I really shouldn't do this at night. Nobody wants to see that.
What did you do?
I worded it wrong. All right, poll. How not to take bed bugs with you when you move is what I wanted. And then how to spiders in 3 to 4 easy steps. There we go. It's late, I'm tired. I had a long day today actually. But yeah, I honestly, I don't think it's wise to just throw your stuff away. I think you should just take it with you and kill the bed bugs. You know, when you've got the kind of information that I give on my channel for free, it's free. There's let's see how many videos I've got now. So if I go to videos, man, I got a lot. This is a lot of content. But if you go to playlists right here, you can see my playlist. There's 103 do-it-yourself videos, all kinds of subjects, all kinds of bugs you could learn about. I've got stink bugs, bed bug informational videos, 79 bed bug videos. I've got a crash course actually on here. Where's my crash course on bed bugs? I got one of those. There, 24. I got 24 crash course videos. Now some of these are repeats from this one that I thought were really important, but it teaches you how to not only to identify bed bugs, but also how to eliminate bed bugs and the different steps you have to take to eliminate them. But the point is that I've got all this information here, and it's free. It's all free, and you go and you can figure out on how to do this on your own, and it'll work really well. I will be right back. I got to use the bathroom. I've been drinking too much water. I'll be right back. Alright, let's see if I can get this thing working again. There we go. So let's see what's said here. What do you use for the yard treatment? Ticks, fleas, and wood roaches. Wood roaches, really, you don't really need to treat the yard for wood roaches. I find the most effective thing that I use for wood roaches is actually just treating mulch beds and stuff. People that have mulch and stuff around their house, that's the biggest issue with wood roaches. And you could use a granular insecticide over the yard, like Bifin granules or something like that. And that does a really good job on all the different kind of bugs. But people will call me for fleas. One of the problems with fleas is they breed all year long. So because they breed on like a 21-day cycle, it's really difficult to break the life cycle of a flea, because when you're talking about treating a yard for fleas, you're doing something that, all right, for one, okay, so the fleas have to crawl through the chemical to die, but there's different life cycles present at all times. And so if they're in the cocoon stage, you're not going to kill those fleas. And if it continues to rain, the granules don't last forever, especially in the spring. And so typically the spring is when you want to treat your yard for ticks, fleas, all kinds of bugs like that. And so usually for ticks are what I recommend yard treatments for, but wood roaches and fleas I usually don't recommend. I usually would recommend like a outside treatment around the house, for both of those. Because both of those are going to come in from outside unless you have pets in the house. Then you would need to do an inside treatment to get rid of the fleas that are in the house and treat your pets. But for ticks, that absolutely you can eliminate ticks in the yard for up to 2 to 3 years if you plant it at the right time of year. If you get it at the spring, usually between April, May, March, sometimes just depends on your geographical location and the spring type weather. But ticks breed in the spring, and so if you can catch them during their breed season, you can usually kill them while they're laying eggs and eliminate ticks for years. I mean, I've got some customers that don't even need me to treat their yard but once every 2 or 3 years. So I have a fear of going to my brother's house and taking the bed bugs, even though I haven't saw any since the crossfire has been over a month now. Well, if you haven't seen any bed bugs, the bed bugs should be dead. That's one of the things that I deal with too, and I tried to make a video the best I could and explain the PTSD around bed bugs and the fear. People who have bed bugs, or have had bed bugs, they have this constant fear that they're always going to have them, that they're just going to be there all the time, and you're always going to get them, and you always have this fear that you're going to get them again. But I mean, I've got customers that I've worked for some of them over 20 years that have never had a bed bug in their house. You know, it's not something that happens to everyone. It's not something that happens all the time. You're just unlucky you've got bed bugs. And so I don't necessarily think you're going to get them back from your brother again if you've already eliminated the problem. Then the main thing is not going and doing the things you were doing before. The problem with bed bugs, and the reason that people, the same people, continue to get bed bugs, is because people get into this habitual behavior. So maybe you like flea markets, maybe you like Goodwill, maybe you like to go to the same friends' houses and stuff that have bed bugs that aren't getting rid of their bed bug problem. And so, or maybe you go to the same vacation home. I actually talked to a guy one time who was bringing the bed bugs in from the same vacation home he was going to once a year, and he was having to get rid of the bed bugs every single summer. He would get rid of them, but then they come back the very next summer as if nothing was being done for the bed bugs. And he was thinking that they were always there, but really what was happening is he was going to this vacation home, picking up bed bugs at this home, and bringing them back to his home every single year because he always went to the same place. And so if you can break those habits that you're performing that's causing you this problem, you can eliminate your bed bugs. You'll never have bed bugs again. You know, I've got a video that I go over this, how to eliminate bed bugs forever. That's really the right way to do it. You really need to, don't buy used furniture. Don't deal with rent by the month furniture. Where you go in like Aaron's or Rent a Center or these big name brand rent a furniture stores. Don't do business with them. Do not do business with those stores because those stores are perpetuating bedbug problems. I'll give you a story. And I won't tell the name of the rental store because it really doesn't matter. They're all the same. I had a customer of mine who had a bedbug problem. She had rented a couch from a rent-a-center store. It was a used couch, but she rented it from the... I mean, you don't expect a store to have bugs. You just don't. And they shouldn't. But they did. The couch had bed bugs in it. She brought the furniture into her house. She infested her house with bed bugs. She had a bed that got them in it. She had a couch that got them in it. And she called and told the store that they needed to take care of this problem. And they wouldn't do it. They said, no, we're not going to take care of it. And they made her pay for the bed and the couch. They would not allow her to return them because she had bed bugs and it's in their policy. And so understand that if you're going in and you're doing renting your furniture from some of these places, they're absolutely not the place you want to get your furniture from, because you got to think when they repo furniture. So a lot of these places do their own collections, and if so and so is not paying on their bed, then the rent-a-center goes in to pick up the bed, and they put it in the same moving truck they deliver other furniture on. Bed bugs fall out in the truck, just like I was saying earlier about U-Haul trucks. The bed bugs are now in that moving truck, and when they go and they bring you a brand new couch or a brand new bed or a brand new lazy boy chair or recliner or whatever, the bed bugs from that old bed that was in that truck crawl up. I have treated these trucks before for bed bugs. I have specifically treated moving trucks by rent-a-center type stores where you go in and you rent your furniture. I have treated their trucks because their trucks get infested with bed bugs. It's really common for these stores to get bed bugs in their trucks. And I know most of them don't treat their trucks. So this is just something you could keep in mind when you're buying renter stores. Don't rent furniture. Buy it. Just buy it on credit. Yeah. So let's go back up. People have been talking. I've been running my mouth. You're right, Alicia. I'm really good at running my mouth. Gabby Rose said, I received my Crossfire today, but I was wondering when I mix it, do I use hot or cold water? Guess what? I made a video today on how to mix Crossfire. I use warm water. But I made a video today. I actually made one. I'm going to put it together. It's going to be a quick snippet. I'm going to put it up as soon as I get it edited. It's like 2 minutes. But I've been asked how to mix Crossfire for like 6 months. And so I made one today because I had to do a bedbug job today. And I had I had my tank there, I had my Crossfire. I said, oh, Rory, my son, I said, hey, film me while I mix this. I need to do this for my YouTube channel. So he filmed me, and I got a video showing how to mix Crossfire. So I recommend using warm water for almost every mixing application. It's good because most of your newer pesticides now, like Alpine WSG, Crossfire, Deltamethrin, let me think of some other ones. Phantom. Most of your newer pesticides, I say newer because I've been in this forever, but they really mix better with warm water because they're real thick and goopy. And so when you mix them with warm water, it helps them kind of dissolve better into the water and get better suspension. I always use warm water. Random Subject says, what allows Crossfire to be different than other pesticides that bugs can build resistance to? Yeah, that's right, Samo. Man, you on the ball. Pibronal butoxide fights metabolic resistance. That's exactly right. It's a catalyst. So let me show you. Let's see if I can fix this because this screen share is really kind of. Let me do. Let me put this up here and then do that. There we go. So let me show you. Crossfire. Pesticide label. Alright, and let's pull that up. There's a PDF. So I do this a lot. I show labels a lot. Move my picture a little bit. That might be better. Okay, so when you see these active ingredients right here, so you've got, I'm not going to pronounce these at all. I'm not going to try, but those are the two actives. And then they've got a third one called pibronal butoxide. That chemical right there is a catalyst. It works really good to stop bugs from becoming immune to your pesticides. So let me show you another label. Let's go temperate. All right. So can I zoom in on this label if I use, is it F11? Is F11 does zoom? I can't remember. No, that's not it.
Control scroll.
Oh, control scroll, that's right. Leave it to my wife. All right. So these active ingredients, you see, it's imidacloprid. That's a good chemical for ants and roaches, not bed bugs, but it's in there. And then they've got, I'm not gonna pronounce that one either. But I don't know, is that in it? No. See, completely different ingredients. No pibronal butoxide is present in this pesticide. None. So, roaches and bed bugs can both become immune to temperate. And that's what's happened. I am absolutely positive that that is what has happened. That is why people are having such a horrible problem getting rid of bed bugs using temperate. I hear people complain almost daily. I get people contact me and they say, my exterminator used temperate and I still have bed bugs. My exterminator's been using temperate for 3 months and I still have bed bugs. And when you use temperate, you treat every other week. So if you're doing it for 3 months, that's almost 6 to 7 treatments you've done with temperate, and you still have bed bugs. That's why temperate doesn't work. That's why Crossfire does work, because it has pibronyl butoxide. But if you'll notice, Raid. So let's look at a can of Raid. All right. Let's see. Let's pull a label. I want to show you. Raid. This is Raid, Ant, and Roach. This is just a letter. Let's see if we can find the actual label. Oh, see, this one actually has cypermethrin. It doesn't have pibronyl butoxide. That's funny. There are cans of Raid that do. Most of your that was a bad example. Most of your Raid spray, bug sprays, your fly sprays, your aerosols, most of them have pibronyl butoxide in them because most of them have chemicals that are known already for resistance with roaches. So roaches develop immunity super quickly within 90 days. That's as long as it takes to get total immunity to pesticides. So if you're using the same chemical every month on roaches, every month, the same pesticide every single month, within 90 days, you can reach complete and total immunity. All the roaches that you have in the home will no longer be able to be killed by that one pesticide, which is why when pest control technicians come in your house and they do a roach clean out, they typically use a spray. They might use a dust and a bait, and a lot of times that spray is not just one chemical. Sometimes it's a pesticide with an IGR mixed in, and so you've got all these different pesticides at work to try to kill your roaches as quickly as possible so you don't develop that immunity issue. But when they put pibronyl butoxide in, even if the roaches are already immune to the chemical, if you add pibronyl butoxide, which you can buy on its own, which is Zimprox. That's Zimprox, right? Is that going to pull the label? There we go. Zimprox. All right. This is pibronyl butoxide. You can buy that. You can buy that chemical, pibronyl butoxide, and you can add it to your other chemicals. So if you read the label, it says, let's see, tank mixing, broadcast, rock, crack, and crevice. This actually might be a standalone because it's got this other chemical in it too. But you can get just plain pibronyl butoxide, and it gives you, it's a much larger label. So it's a little more, I don't talk about Zimprox a lot on my channel because it's a lot more detailed on how you're supposed to mix it. It actually gives you volume amounts on how you mix it with this chemical and how you mix it with that chemical and how you mix it with this chemical in order to get the right effect that you want. But, you could try that. You could always try Zimprox if you're having problems with a roach job, and it helps a lot. I don't use Precor for fleas. I use Alpine WSG, so I'm not really sure how well it works. I've never used it for fleas. I've used other chemicals for fleas, but I've never used Precor, so I can't tell you. Let me see what the actives are in it. If I can type tonight. Oh, that's the aerosol. No, I don't use that. That's crap. I already know that's crap. Not for fleas. Not for fleas. It's permethrin, which is good. That's a good chemical. Methoprene. Those are both good for fleas. Pibronyl butoxide. See, there's one. See, that's an aerosol that's got pibronyl butoxide in it. That might work. The thing is, it's an aerosol. Aerosol's for lazy people. You don't use aerosol. Mix your chemical in a tank. Apply it. You're going to get better results if you do that. Aerosols are from an era when people would fog all the time. Now, I've done this. I've used aerosols before. Now, as in a fog machine. So you can get a fogger, and you can mix your fog machine with different types of perethrins. And you go in and you do your topical treatment on the floor, your broadcast application, and then you go in behind yourself and you use a fog machine. to kill any live fleas that might still be alive from what the liquid hasn't killed. And that was the best way we could get rid of fleas back when I was like 10, 11, 12, you know, and you have to wear a respirator, and it's a lot. This was also a way that we would get rid of German cockroaches, because when you, like I was explaining before, when the roaches are falling off the ceiling and they're raining all around you, and you're trying to kill as many roaches as you possibly can, fogging was a very bug bombing, you know, people call it bombing the house, was a really common way to get rid of bugs. But the pesticides have come a long way in 30 years. You know, we've got chemicals. I mean, we don't have DDT, we don't have Dursban, we don't have diazinon, we don't have chlordane. They're starting to slowly phase out orthene now. We really don't have the organophosphate family of pesticides are completely just about obsolete. They don't even hardly exist anymore. But they don't really work on roaches anymore either, because, like I was saying before, this immunity issue that you get with cockroaches, that's something that was used for a really like 50 years or more. People were using diazinon and Dursban on cockroaches, and so the roaches have developed immunity to it. So we need to move on to better pesticides. And not only that, but Alpine is such a safe chemical, I don't know why you would use anything else. The thing is, when you're doing pest control, it's very important that you use a chemical that's going to be safe for children and pets to come in and walk on after it's dry. And Alpine's very safe. Crossfire is very safe. I mean, you use Crossfire around the bed for bed bugs. It's really safe. You know, people are living in this. See, I call them chemicals too. I'm not one of these. You know, I'm not going to call them a product, because I don't want to sound like, you know, I'm trying to hide what I'm using in somebody's house. I'm not a salon. I'm not going to do your hair. I'm not going to use a product. My wife, she uses products to wash her hair. You know, that's a product. A chemical, a pesticide, is a chemical. You have to have a certain respect for pesticides. They're chemicals. So I write out, come in, and I tell my customers, I'm like, you know, yes, I'm going to spray chemicals. I'm going to kill bugs. This is what we're doing. This is how I get rid of bugs. I'm not PC in the least. But I also educate my customers, like I educate you guys, on how to get rid of bugs. So I have complete success. Simo's helping people out here in chat. He's all right. I am fighting both roaches and bed bugs. I bought the Alpine and the Crossfire. Which should I use first, and how long should I have to wait to use the other? Okay, so if you're going to use Crossfire, and Alpine, this is what I do. This is how I do a bed bug job. I use Alpine and Crossfire. I have two tanks. I have one that has Crossfire. I have one that has Alpine. Don't mix them in the same tank, because you don't know what kind of reaction you're going to get. Even though they're both non-repellents, don't mix them together. Crossfire is 3 different chemicals put together, and Alpine's another. And so just don't mix them together. I would treat the baseboards with Alpine, WSG, and then treat everything else with Crossfire. Treat the mattress, treat the box spring, treat the bed rails, the headboard, footboard, treat the inside the couch, cushions, zippers on the cushions, pull the cushions out, treat the zippers, flip it upside down, treat it inside the couch. If you have to make holes in the little piece of felt on the bottom of the couch, do that, treat inside the couch. That's what you want to do, and you want to use that 2 different tanks. You don't want to mix Crossfire. You really should have a dedicated tank just for Crossfire. That's what you need. You're actually supposed to triple rinse your tank if you switch over to any other chemical, so keep that in mind, that you really should just have a separate tank for Crossfire and then one for other bugs that you kill. That's what I would recommend. But the way that you get inside, so I have a video. If you go to my channel, let's see, search green Akers Pest Control, and go here, and then search my videos on extensive. I don't know why I use the word extensive, but the most extensive bedbug treatment. So if you go here, let's mute that because I don't want to hear it. No thanks. Okay, and you scroll through here to about, let's see, I think it's like 5 minutes. Here we go. So if you're watching this, this is a video I did. Oh, it's going to do an ad. Let's watch this ad. Look at that guy. Look at him. He's camping in a tent. Got a nice warm hot coffee. Okay. All right. So flip the couch upside down. See, this is one of those with the armrest in it. It's got these separations where the couch kind of separates. This is a really lovely thing. I love it about the new couches where they got these things, these flaps that open up. You open those things up. See, I kind of fight with the Velcro. And bed bugs are all up inside. They were all inside this piece of Velcro here. And there's actually, you can see one right there where that one is. But, and I'll show you how to treat any couch. So I've got videos on showing how to do this. So see, you treat inside the couch. All along, and you can't really see real well, but see how I spend a little more time on the edges, on the cracks? You really want to do that. You want to spend more time on the cracks and the crevices of the couch. You want to treat every surface inside the couch that the bed bugs could possibly crawl on. It's I'm running my mouth. And this was one of the very first videos I ever did. I actually did this job pro bono. I didn't even charge him to do it. I did it for free. But he let me film it. Like I said, he let me film the job, so I didn't even charge him. But we got rid of his bed bugs, actually. So see how you come around here and you treat up inside. See, get inside everywhere really well. See, and you just can't beat a B&G. That's just a beautiful job. That just does such a good job. So yeah. That's how you treat inside a couch, if you were wondering. Hopefully that answered your question. But that's just one couch. There's a big couch in here too that I had to do. I think that's on here too because I did a sectional. Let me see. Oh, see, here we go. See, take the cushions off. This was a beast of a couch. I remember this. Man, I remember this job. I hated this job. There's so much work in this job. See, I didn't have my son helping me here. This is back before my son started helping me on all my bedbug work. But see, check all in there real good. Flip it upside down. People leave their socks in the couch. Had to get rid of the sock. Don't want to spray somebody's sock. So, skip ahead a little bit. See how I opened it up? I pulled the staples loose and I opened it up and I treat down inside so I don't actually have to make cuts in the or take it off. So that's how you do a couch. And then if you scroll in even further along, there's, see, I put it back together, put everything back together. I always do that. And there's this bed. Now this is why I hated this job, is because I had to do this. This is a king size bed, and this shows you right here. You see that? That's hard. That's hard work. That's real hard work. Man, I was really wrestling. And then I moved the camera to the foot of the bed and I show you how, see this crack right here on the king size? You want to treat between those cracks and everything real well. But anyway, so that's I recommend going and watching that video. It's got 41,000 views. It's not a lot, but it was done in 2018. That's when it's been almost 3 years since I did that video. But I still recommend going to look at that video. That's a really good video to watch to learn how to do what I do. So let's see. Oh yeah, see, Simo's even recommended it. I didn't even read that comment. Crossfire makes a very sticky white residue. It's a great idea to clean the tank after every use as well. Yeah, I agree with that. Jason, do you also find everybody's long lost remotes? Yeah, I do. It was an embarrassing story. What time is it? What time is it, Lucia? It's almost 11. All right, kids should be in bed. I'm going to use euphemisms to try to be as family friendly as I can, but it's 11 o'clock. Kids should be in bed. So I went to a house one time, and I was doing a bed bug job, and my son, actually this is when my son wasn't on with me, and I was trying to remember if Rory was with me on that job or not. I don't think he was. But, so the queen size bed. All right, I had to treat the bed. I don't think you've heard this story either, Alicia. I had to treat this woman's bed for bed bugs. Now, She was in the doorway watching me take his bed apart. I don't know why she was even still there. She wasn't even supposed to be there. She's supposed to leave. She was getting ready to leave anyway. And I can take the furniture apart. I don't like people to be there when I'm actually treating the house. Like I said, that video that you watched there, the most extensive bedbug job, that one, he was already gone. You know, typically the customer's gone when I'm treating the house. But she was there in the bed at the doorway watching me take his bed apart. And so I'm taking the bed apart, and I find a battery-operated boyfriend. Okay? If you guys know what that is. And it's between the mattress and the box spring, hidden up inside the bed. And so you can't spray the bed. You got to move the stuff. If you find a sock or a remote or a boyfriend, you can't be spraying the ladies' boyfriends. And so I had to pick it up and move it. Of course, I got gloves on. So I was embarrassed. She went like 3-4 different shades of red. And she's like, oh, I lost that. I don't know where that was. And so I had to pick this thing up, and I handed it to her. And she put it in her purse and walked on out the house. This is the fastest I've ever seen somebody leave a house. And she got on out of the house. She drove all the way too. She got out of there. But yeah, so that I did find that one time when I was doing the bedbug job. But yeah, well, I don't ever ask permission to open people's drawers. I just do it, you know. I just do it. I mean, it's just part of my job. I do it. I have found. In fact, I've got a customer now that I treat every month. He grows pot in his closet. He's got like grow lights and everything, and he got these pot plants growing in there. And I open the doors. I treat all around everything. I close the doors up. I don't care. I open people's drawers. I've seen it all. I tell people, I've got a video that I did. It's really tongue-in-cheek. It's like the top 3 reasons you should not hire an exterminator. It's really just a joke. It's a funny video. People take that video so seriously. But it's just for humor. I thought it was funny. And I talk about how, you know, if you can't trust your exterminator to open your bedside table, because we're going to do it. If you have ants or bed bugs or roaches on your bedside table, we are going to open the drawers. We are going to take the drawers out. We are going to treat your nightstand. We are going to see what you have in your bedside drawer. So if you don't want us to see what's in your bedside drawer, you might want to empty that drawer before we get there, because we're opening it. We're going to look in it, because you have to treat in it. You have to take that stuff out. You can't treat inside someone's nightstand, and sometimes you end up having to leave the drawer on the bed while the nightstand is drying, because you can't actually put the drawer back while it's, you know, damp inside, because it might get inside the drawer. And so if you don't want your kids to see what's inside your nightstand drawer, you might want to remove that stuff before the bug guy gets there. So it's advice I give people in that video, because I just thought it was funny, because I see all kinds of crazy stuff. But yeah. So you typically find, honestly, the most common thing you find in a bedside drawer is a Glock or something. You know, usually that's what you find in a bedside drawer. I had this little old lady that I used to service. She's probably in her 90s, and she had a pistol. Man, that thing, shoot, it was huge, sitting right inside her bedside drawer. I was like, no way would I want to break into her house at the middle of the night. But I cracked my TV screen applying Crossfire to my couch. How did you do that? Did you flip your couch up and it hit your TV? How did you do that? Bug Blaster says, I know exactly what you're about to start getting into. You find everything in people's houses doing bedbug jobs. I always ask permission before I start opening drawers. Some people look like deer in the headlights. Yeah, it's just funny. It's just funny. Honestly, I love my job. If you've watched me for very long, you know I'm very passionate about exterminating. I really like my job. But some of the funniest things that have ever happened to me in my life we're doing pest control. I have got some of the funniest, most hilarious stories that you would ever know, that you'd ever hear, because of pest control. Things that have happened to me, things that people have told me, stories that I've heard, things I've found in people's houses, the stories people give you when they're trying to hide something from you, and it's like, I know that's not true, but you know, you don't want to embarrass the people, so you let them say what they want to say. But I really care about my job. I care about my customers, and it's a great job. I wouldn't do anything but pest control probably the rest of my life. I really, really do enjoy my job. So, and I like being here with you guys. I like here chatting with you guys and answering your questions and sharing some of my stories in pest control with you and teaching you guys. But I'm going to have to get off now. It's been over an hour. It's almost an hour and a half. I usually try not to stretch more than an hour and a half on these live streams. I know people do like to listen to them later. This will be uploaded later. If there's anything you need to know or you need to go back and rewatch, you can. They're always uploaded to my channel, typically in the live stream folder of my playlists. So if you're wanting to see anything back again, you can always go back and watch it. I know some people do listen to them like a podcast or whatever while they're in their car or whatever driving to work. So if you guys, like I said, go and vote on that poll. The poll is which video would you like to see next? Would you like to see how not to take bed bugs with you when you move, or how to kill spiders in 3 to 4 easy steps? Those are my next 2 videos I plan on doing. I really enjoy talking with you guys. Really enjoy sitting here and chatting with you. We've had about 20 people, I think was the peak tonight. Not a lot of people. Usually there's not a lot of people that get on this time of year because it is close to the holiday season. So you guys enjoy yourself. Have a great time, and I will see you hopefully next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, hopefully around 9:30-ish Eastern. That's usually about the sweet spot. I find that usually the kids are all in bed, and it's not too big of a problem to get on and talk to you guys then. So y'all have a great night. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you later. Thanks.